The one-day parliamentary sitting in Malaysia has drawn criticism from some lawmakers. Former Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has expressed his disappointment, saying it could have lasted for at least 8 days. For a closer look, we're joined by Adib Zalkapli, Director of the BowenGroup Asia in Malaysia, a government affairs and public policy consulting firm. Adib, thanks for joining us this evening. Firstly, one opposition leader has described today as the darkest hour in the country's parliamentary history, while Dr. Mahathir, no stranger to harsh words, he's called it the end of democracy in Malaysia. What's your take on it?
Well, one shortened parliamentary meeting does not kill democracy. The start of the parliamentary year has always been dominated by ceremonial events and pageantry. So what we saw this morning is merely a parliamentary tradition that has been practiced since day one of the Malaysian parliament.
But Adib, critics have also pointed out that there were alternatives to a single-day sitting. Help us understand, what were they?
Well, yeah, of course, the government could have suspended the parliamentary rules and carry out part of the proceedings via video calls. But as the leader of the government with the narrowest majority in Malaysia's history, it's not in the Prime Minister's interest to have a prolonged meeting. But in any case, a prolonged meeting would not have ousted the Prime Minister just because the way parliamentary agenda is arranged. So if I can speculate why it wasn't prolonged, is partly because it's still the Prime Minister is still in his first 100 days, still in a honeymoon period. So a prolonged meeting could have potentially led to political grandstanding by the opposition and could have disrupted his first 100 days attempt at building his brand as the 8th Prime Minister.
So Dr. Mahathir is accusing the government of focusing more on politics than managing the coronavirus outbreak. Does he have justification to raise these concerns?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a government with a very, very narrow majority. So understandably, it has to spend a lot of its energy in strengthening the government. But having said that, it's not a zero-sum game. Just because the government is spending a lot of time in politics, it doesn't mean work in managing the coronavirus outbreak is being abandoned. As we could see in the last almost 2 months, the number of positive cases have reduced. The movement control order initiated by this government has been working well. So yeah, so they're doing both at the same time, I guess.
Well, let's look at this much anticipated no confidence motion against Prime Minister Muhyiddin. It wasn't tabled today. Question is, will it ever be debated?
Well, looking at how the parliamentary system works, it's unlikely to be tabled. The focus of parliament is in transacting government's agenda. Perhaps the closest we have to a vote of no confidence is in late October or early November, when Budget 2021 is discussed and voted on by MPs. All
right, thank you very much for that. Adib Zalkapli, the Director of BowenGroup Asia Malaysia.